agency, but they're still making big bucks, even bigger bucks, that is. For more on this, I'm joined by Congressman Michael Grimm, a Republican from New York. Congressman, great to see you again.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Now, you were at the FBI and you worked with the SEC.
Sure.
How did the SEC miss this? Come on, it was one of the biggest Ponzi schemes going.
No, I understand. First of all, the SEC, like most government agencies, the FBI included, hires very well. They hire very competent people. The problem is the level of bureaucracy and red tape that after a while can take the starch out of any professional. And things do not run efficiently, they do not run effectively. And it's not so much the people that they have employed, it's the process itself that in many cases is broken. And I think that's a big part of what happened here.
I want to show our viewers some of the folks and what they're doing now and why you should be interested. Peter Bresnan was Deputy Director of Enforcement. He's now a partner at a big fancy pants law firm. And let me tell you, some of these folks in their jobs at the SEC would have made about $200,000. In some of these jobs, you can make as much as $2 million. So there's a very big difference. Walter Riccardi, now a partner at Paul Weiss. He was Deputy Director of Enforcement. Wayne Carlin, he's now a partner at Wachtell Lipton. He was then regional director in New York. You can see him right there. And on. Mark Schoenfeld, partner at Gibson Dunn, then regional director in New York. This is a revolving door. And you know who doesn't get helped by this? The very people they're supposed to protect at the SEC.
Oh, no question. I mean, you have to look at it through my eyes. I have a very different perspective because I was the first and only undercover FBI agent to infiltrate Wall Street. So I went undercover on Wall Street as a hedge fund manager for over 2 years. And what you're seeing with the SEC is a systemic problem that you see in the city, the state, and the federal government. It's such a bureaucracy. The red tape is so overbearing that things do not get done. And what does the government usually do? Again, city, state, or federal? They throw money at the problem and make it a bigger problem than what they had in the first place. So the answer here is not more money, and it's not more regulations. People talk about, new rules, new regulations. The Bernie Madoff fiasco, all the rules were there. They simply weren't enforced. So what we need is more efficient, more effective, proper oversight and enforcement. Not more rules and regulations and not more money being thrown at the problem.
You know, we just talked about hackers and the NASDAQ. Big story today about hackers getting involved with the NASDAQ. Big fears from investors. And, of course, this story, the Madoff story, really put some questions in the heads of small investors.
Sure.
Should people be worried that there's no even playing field for them, that the big guys all get all the advantages and the little guy just could get cut out? Well,
I can tell you, I felt that way many times myself. I'm not going to sit here and tell you there shouldn't be any worries. Whenever you're investing in anything, the irony of it is if you look at WorldCom and Enron and all of these different really tragedies that happen to investors, you can do all your homework and look at the balance sheet and the strengths of the companies, the pros and the cons of the industry, and then there are the variables that you just can't weigh. And I think you'll always have that to some extent. And that's one of the things about investing. It's always it's a gamble.
It's a risk.
At the end of the day, there's an inherent risk in anything you're going to invest in.
But I want to be reassured that the playing field is even for me, that I don't have to worry about the next flash crash trader or the next hacker, that I'm going to have all the rights and all of the opportunities as the big guy. Do you think that playing field is even? And let's, you're on the House Committee on Financial Services. You're in a position to do something about this.
Absolutely. And this is really a big part of why I ran for Congress. I agree with you. But we're certainly not there yet, and I don't think we'll ever be at 100%. Nothing is ever perfect. We have human beings involved in this mix. When you have human beings, you have things that can go wrong. That being said, though, we do have to look at, for example, Dodd-Frank. There's something that I'm going to be very involved in, and we look at the overall problems that we've had, and can you believe that Dodd-Frank doesn't really address the GSEs? So I think it's incumbent upon Congress, every member of Congress, especially those on my committee, Financial Services, to understand the industry that we're trying to regulate and to identify the problems and deal with those problems and not look at things broad stroke where a lot of times we miss exactly the thing that we were trying to stop in the first place. So it's very complicated, it's very complex. It can be done, but I don't think we could ever be at 100%. There will always be that inherent risk.
It's not the money, it's the red tape. Congressman Grimm, thanks for your help today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, the administration keeps boasting of job